Hello and welcome. Solo Guy here, and it's been a while since I've done a review, but I just got Warlord Games Black Powder Epic Battles Waterloo campaign Blucher's Prussian Army Starter Set. And I know a lot of people might be thinking, well, why get the Prussians when it was really the British who did the yeoman's work there at Waterloo and whatnot? Well, as Wellington said, give me Knight or give me Blucher. And it turned out Blucher came first. And that turned the tide for European history. So having the French was obvious, but one of the reasons I focus on the Prussian army is because you can use these also in the war, the Coalition War of 1813 and 1814. Whereas you really can't use the Waterloo British for that because you could use the British forces in the Spanish campaign, but the reality is the uniforms are not exactly the same and there's some differences and whatnot. But here we're looking at the Prussian Army Starter Set, and on the back it gives you a picture of what you have, and you may notice that only certain units are getting battle flags, other units get nothing. And that would be relatively historically accurate. It gives you the main things here. You do have a rule book. They say bespoke A5. I already did a video on the A5 rule book. Full color assembly guide and painting guide, just like they did with the French set. 8 mounted brigade commanders, 8 units of Prussian line infantry, 80 men per unit, 5 units of landwehr infantry. Honestly, you're probably going to need more landwehr just because there was a large portion of those guys during that campaign. 2 units of ranked up Jaegers, yes, and then you have 35 skirmishing Jaegers. Okay, 5 bases of landwehr cavalry, which was the main cavalry that they had there in the 100 Days, but they also had Prussian dragoons, Prussian uhlans, Prussian hussar, but those are only 3 bases each, so it's like a standard unit. Okay, 8 guns of 12-pounder foot artillery, and then 1 battery of 6-pounder horse artillery, and then you also get the windmill NDF scenery piece, and of course 6 dice. But you know, hey, reading about the contents isn't quite the same as opening it up. So let's go ahead, let's open it up. Nobody sends me any of the products that I review. I love the hobby, and therefore, you know, I go get it myself. But if anybody wants to send me something for review, I'll be more than happy to review it for you. Okay? Okay, so the wrapper's out, and we open up the box, and oh my word, look at the goodness in here. And boy, do we have sprues. Okay, so some things to look at here. So you have here 4, 6, 10, 14, 16 sprues dealing with bases. Okay. And again, I mean, you could mount if you want to make your own homemade sprues, but these are meant that you just plop them on. Cut them off, cut off the figure bases, and plop them on here. So that's cool. And that's very standardized. Okay, now what's really nice about this is that the British are red, the French are blue or bleu, depending how you pronounce it. But in this case here, when you look at the Prussian sprue here, it's black. This is absolutely perfect because if you have all 3 armies on the field, then you can tell which one is what if you don't paint them. Okay, now in this case here, looking at the sprue here, oh my, do I see a lot of regular musketeers. Yeah, I see a lot of those. I don't know how well that's going to be picked up, but these guys are your regular musketeer boys. There's a limit to what my camera can do, but you also have your commander, and you got this big, huge gun right here. Okay, 12-pounder. I think it's bigger than the French gun. But anyway, so you got one. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I think that's it. You got 9 of these sprues. So you got 9 of these sprues with your, but you also have included, some of them you don't have artillery, but you do have some cavalry, some Prussian cavalry on here, depending what you are looking at. And then you got your skirmishing Jaegers. This is also cool. So we get those out of the way. Now we also get some more of these guys here. Let's see, and here we can go and look and see these are the Landwehr, the militia units. Okay. Now what's kind of cool is that the Landwehr, that some of them went to battle barefoot, some of them, you know, the uniform was ragtag and whatnot, but the Prussians had a way of training, keeping to the treaty that Napoleon forced Prussia to accept, but there was a way that they could conscript the men, train them, and rotate them out, such that when that opportunity came and the time was to call to serve the fatherland, they were able to rally to the flag, and that's it. I would want to point out to you guys, though, that officially the Prussian Landwehr did not have battle flags. That was the understanding. How accurate that is or not, that's different. Can't say for sure. Here's another sprue of multiple, again, Prussian horses, Prussian cavalry, and you get some more artillery in there. You can also give the option for bugles and flagpoles, guidons, if you will, for the Prussian cavalry. And you get 2 more of those sprues for the goodness. Okay. We get our bag of dice. I would point out to you guys about the bag of dice is it's a little bit different than the dice that came in the French set. They're small. They're still numbered 1 to 6, but these are like a solid white. Okay. And this was, in fact, packed by Morella. Okay. Thank you, Morella. Thank you. All right. And then, of course, here's the rule book. I'll open that up. And again, it's the same one that came in the French set. It is basic. I mean, if you already have the big rule book, that 2nd edition, it's the same rules. This is just more designed for the epic scale battles. And that's all. You also have in here from Sarisa Precision, okay, the windmill, okay, and they give you the basic instructions on how to paint it and how to put it together. I think that is going to look really awesome when it gets finished. Okay, as we are winding our way down here, here is the Prussian flag sheet. Yeah, pretty cool, I would have to say, for the Prussian flag sheet. That's going to look awesome. You also have here a Prussian painting guide. Okay, this is pretty useful because it was a quick way to do this. Now, I've painted 28mm Prussians. I've painted 28mm Prussians. This is my first try at painting them at this epic scale, which depending on who you talk to, some say it's the smaller 15, some say it's 13.5, some say it's 12.5, but whatever the true scale is about that, the thing I would notice about this is the fact that the soldiers are literally going shoulder to shoulder, which would be pretty much what they did back then. And I would go with that. So of course here they want you to do a white undercoat. They give you the recommendations for the colors. Okay, so you can see, and they also tell you how, and they also give you a quick thing on what would a Prussian Dragoon, Prussian Hussar, Prussian Landwehr, and Prussian Ulan would look like in terms of the cavalry, what a Prussian Landwehr battalion will look like. Okay, and it gives you an idea, and if you notice the piping on the caps that they have, it depends on which unit you're interested in. Okay, so when I painted up my Prussians, I painted them in Westphalian color, so I used green for that. So then of course, you know, on the back they also talk about basing and then what's next, and cavalry and commanders. I mean, you can do a number of things with that, and that gives you an idea what the Prussian coloring would look like as well. Okay, well, there you have it. Guys, this is the actual unboxing. There is nothing else on here. Now on the sides here, it also, you know, on the sides of the box, they also show you a few things. They'll show you other Warlord Games products that you could purchase, okay, that are not necessarily Epic. Okay, like here's Black Seas and whatnot, and that's all fine and dandy, but hey, that's it. I am really pumped up about this. This is exciting, and as far as how long is it going to take for me to paint all this up, I think this side of forever. That being said, I remember War Games Illustrated, they did a video where they played the French and the British starters right out of the box. You had the red and blue, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I am somebody that I do paint my miniatures. Napoleonics is the biggest challenge I've ever had in terms of painting. I've seen one guy go and paint his using a Sharpie. He only painted like a couple of features and that was it. I don't know. I think I would go in and paint it over time as best as I could. So what's your philosophy about painting? Would you play with this unpainted? Some people say it's a sacrilege. Other people say it's a must, especially if you take it to a club. Okay, and I understand that. But for other people, you know, hey, if I'm playing with my son, he's like 11 years old or 12 years old or whatever, you know, playing it out of the box, that's fine. That works. Okay. All right. So with that, I don't think you can go wrong for the game, especially if you've played Black Powder before and you enjoy it. If Black Powder is not your rule set, but there are other rule sets, still this is a pretty good way to get into it with these starter sets. I'm not planning on buying the British starter set just because I'm interested more in the fights between the Prussians and the French, especially like 1813, 1814, you know, and the 100 Days campaign like at Ligny or Plassenois, okay? And that's it. Okay. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that takes care of it. That's it. So you've got an idea what's inside the starter box for the Prussian army. Hey, this is Solo Guy. I hope this benefits you guys. You take care. God bless you and have a great day.